What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about Black Ops 6 Zombies, the new reused assets controversy, plus even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and as a big reminder, there's plenty of brand new article coverage going up on detonated.com for those that want to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty. There's been so much to talk about when it comes to the new COD, and I, of course, got you covered with the mid-season 4 update for Modern Warfare 3 and even Warzone. For those wondering what's going on with Zombies, though, when will we get more information about the mode? I'm going to guess we'll get little bits of info here and there before COD Next. I don't expect the full reveal of Zombies to be at COD Next. I mean, that could be the case, but like I entertained in a recent video, there's always a possibility that for the first time in a while, there is a panel for COD at Comic-Con this year in late July. Maybe they talk more about Zombies then, show us the intro cutscene, or they'll just market it a little bit before COD Next. As we saw a couple of weeks ago, they actually marketed Zombies a little bit before we even got a campaign reveal, which has never happened, so definitely expect some untraditional style marketing for the Zombies mode this year. Either way though, I made a recent video talking about all the confirmed gameplay details from the Treyarch event and even from the gameplay trailer alone following the Xbox Direct. But when it comes to what we actually got to see about Zombies, for some reason, they only showed us footage, at least during the Black Ops 6 Xbox Direct, of Terminus. We didn't see anything footage-wise or even screenshot-wise for Liberty Falls. What's interesting is that we actually got to see a decent amount of information and even some clips of Liberty Falls at the Treyarch Q&A last week, and I want to go over more of that here in this video, but let's go over a couple of rumors real quickly when it comes to Terminus, and then we'll get back to Liberty. So when it comes to Terminus, data miners out there have reported that you'll be spawning in a cell block, which you get to see a glimpse of in the gameplay trailer or that snippet from the Direct. So you apparently spawn in a cell block, and we're going to see several points of interest like a port, even a lab. So there's going to be a lot to explore with Terminus. I believe the prison is somewhere underground, and you're kind of making your way above ground towards the main area of the map, as you see in some of the gameplay footage. We're also apparently going to be seeing tentacle dogs, so I guess a new Hellhound variant, a tentacle trap of sorts, and even an arrow trap. We may have seen a glimpse of at least one of these traps in some of the gameplay that we got from the Direct, but data miners have also claimed we're going to be seeing large ammo boxes, a new crafting table, and I believe at that table we'll be able to change our weapon's rarity. And I know they've also reported on the exfil returning at some point, and there's even what is called a deck cannon trap. I believe we got to see a bit of this cannon in the gameplay trailer, but with the mention of a deck, that probably means we're going to see a boat somewhere on Terminus, either throughout the Easter egg or just somewhere on the map as a fun point of interest. The leakers have also talked a little bit more about Liberty Falls, and I know there's already been some teasers sprinkled around, let's say, Modern Warfare Zombies. I'm sure more will also be provided over the next season or whatnot inside of MWZ, so there'll be more to learn about the lore when it comes to Liberty Falls, which is really exciting. But apparently, according to leakers, we'll be seeing a Wonder Weapon quest, a jump scare, and an Easter egg cutscene on the map. So for those wondering if Liberty Falls is kind of like the Giant to Terminus, it doesn't really seem like a bonus map. They do seem like two full-fledged round-based experiences, even though Terminus is the map with the quote-unquote set crew. You can still play as anybody you want on any Zombies map in BO6, but the set crew with active dialogue is only on Terminus. But like I said before, Terminus and Liberty Falls do take place at the very same time narratively, which I guess helps explain why there isn't a set crew of characters for Liberty Falls map. But what they did say at Treyarch about Liberty Falls is as follows. It's going to be an iconic setting for Zombies, truly embodying Americana in the 90s. You're going to be seeing POIs like the video store, a comic book shop, a bowling alley, even a gas station, a church, a hotel, and you'll of course get a nice glimpse of the Appalachian Mountains, right? We got to see a couple of screenshots of Liberty Falls at the Treyarch presentation last week, and there were a couple of very short gameplay clips that I think a lot of us in that room probably could have missed because of how quick they were shown to us. So there were some cool clips shown of even Terminus that I know weren't revealed in the Direct event, but upon breaking down what we got to see about Liberty Falls, the map looks incredible. It looks different visually from Terminus because, again, one map takes place in the day, one takes place dark at night. So I think that's great to kind of distinguish the difference between these two maps. But yes, I've seen some comments here and there saying, oh, it's a new version of Transit, it's a reimagining. And no, while I get the comparison when it comes to like, oh, a church or let's say a comic book shop or a bowling alley, while I understand that comparison to Town from BO2's Transit, I get it, trust me. I know there was even some evidence found somewhere that in real life in West Virginia, there's like a Green Run bus depot or something that was found in relation to that. While I understand that was found, Liberty Falls truly is an original experience and is not at all a reimagining of an older Zombies map. But when it comes to Liberty Falls taking place in West Virginia, there's also a multiplayer map that appears to take place in West Virginia. We got to see some gameplay of that in the Black Ops 6 Direct. Looks like you're kind of in a parking lot of a mini mall or something, and reportedly this area of this multiplayer map is very close to where Liberty Falls takes place. So there's a high probability that when we're in Liberty Falls, you might come across that section of the multiplayer map while playing, but here's what controversy that sparks up. Oh my god, 4 years of development and they're reusing assets for multiplayer? What's going on here? Let me blow your mind for a second. What if, and this is a big what if, whatever this area is from MP is already in the campaign, and let's say the zombies team was like, okay, let's take the area from campaign and zombify it, and let's say that's what they did. Then sometime after that, way later, that got turned into a multiplayer map. I just don't really get why people assume, oh, they just must have took it from campaign or multiplayer. What if the area was for zombies first? I understand in recent CODs, you know, most of the time zombies doesn't get revealed until after MP because it's kind of the last mode that's worked on, but I want to say the schedule of development for Call of Duty these days is much different than it was before. So for those that are going to be like, oh, that's copium, you know, it's just reuse assets and they're lazy, say whatever you want, but I'm curious why we didn't get to see more of Liberty Falls in the direct. Was it to avoid this type of controversy, or would folks have even picked up on that idea that maybe these maps do take place in the very same environment? Now, before I get called a shill in the comments, let me say this. When it comes to zombie maps, here's my problem, right? Especially when it comes to maps from, let's say, Cold War, a game that was excellent, by the way. To me, it's all about atmosphere, and that's also a big issue with, let's say, Outbreak from Black Ops Cold War. They didn't zombify those points of interest enough. Did they have the time to do it? Probably not under COVID. Did they have the resources to probably do it? Likely not either. So that's why I give that a pass, because the gameplay was still solid in Cold War to make up for more of a zombified atmosphere. I know how you guys are feeling though. The atmospheres for Black Ops 3 zombie maps were incredible. They were ridiculous, and if anything, felt like standalone experiences from what you would see offered in campaign or even multiplayer. But on the topic of reuse assets, I don't know how, unless you're new to the zombies community, which if you are, then God bless you and welcome to the community, but unless you are new to zombies, then you would know that going as far back as World at War to BO1, there are so many maps that were taken directly out of campaign and multiplayer, and that's been pretty common. Look at maps like Hina der Toten, you saw that in the World at War campaign. Look at a map like 5, you saw that in the BO1 campaign. A map like Ascension, what about even parts of Garad Krovi? I mean, we can go on all day and make a separate standalone video on just reuse assets from previous Black Ops Zombies experiences, because they exist. And the thing is, I never had a problem with that, especially when you think about the people who just play zombies likely won't even touch campaign or barely touch the multiplayer. So that's when I come to the point of saying, okay, why really complain about reuse assets if you're not playing all those modes anyway? I mean, look at Cold War, for example. You had one area in this specific campaign mission that was then reused for Forsaken in DLC 4, and in that same season became a multiplayer map known as America. Now, clearly that was in campaign first, but whether or not that was then put into zombies or MP after that is unknown. We don't know what order that happened in, but the area that you could see in Ukraine played so much differently across campaign to zombies to multiplayer, so in the end, who really cares? Now, if it means we get more zombie maps once they reuse some spaces that you got to see in, let's say, campaign or in, let's say, multiplayer, then I'm down to get more maps if it means they have to just reuse some of those spaces, especially if folks out there that are really deep into the BO6 Zombies experience aren't playing those other modes anyway. What does it really matter? Now, so long as these areas look unique visually, which is again something I don't doubt Treyarch can accomplish considering the extra development time they've had for Black Ops 6, I think so long as they look unique, we'll be fine. Atmosphere is really important when it comes to zombies, at least in my opinion, but I think when it comes to the rumored early access for Black Ops 6 Zombies, I certainly am under the assumption that Liberty Falls would be the map that we get to play early. I think Terminus is more of the big map for BO6, whereas Liberty Falls is still action-packed with plenty of content, but is a bit smaller scale-wise, maybe environment and atmosphere-wise, that will be better saved for, let's say, an early access period that they haven't announced yet. But honestly, I feel like the reused asset controversy kind of died down a bit in Cold War, because I feel like a lot of folks were pretty knowledgeable on the fact that the game wasn't Treyarch's to begin with. They had very limited time to make it. There was a pandemic going on. I feel like people generally knew that, and the gameplay carried everything, right? Despite people's criticism of the map's atmospheres or the storyline, the narrative, the intel, the gameplay was strong enough to kind of just hold the weight, and people just really didn't complain all that much. But now with Black Ops 6 Zombies having so many years under its belt, I think that's going to create a lot of crazy expectations that I understand, but I don't doubt Treyarch can knock everything out the park considering the extra time they've had and considering what they've revealed so far, which all looks pretty promising. Now, I do want to see Onslaught return again, especially for some of the cooler BO6 MP maps that they revealed thus far. It didn't seem to bother people in Cold War that you were essentially just playing on MP maps. You were playing this basic, just horde-filled zombies mode on, let's say, gunfight maps, 6v6 maps. People weren't bothered by that, and I'm sure they won't be when it comes to that mode potentially returning in BO6. But on the topic of round-based, I think so long as they really truly zombify a lot of those other environments that you see in other modes, people will be just fine with all of the round-based maps. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on everything to do with Black Ops 6 Zombies, the reuse assets, or the quote-unquote reuse assets from campaign or multiplayer? How you feeling about Terminus and even Liberty Falls? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.